Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back for another edition of Six for Six. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last picks of season 2 for Six for Six as we prepare for season 3 in 2023. So it's actually quite fitting how we were able to fit it in with the first season and the second season. Now we're wrapping up the second season of Six for Six. We got a lot of good stuff. As you can look at the description, we are looking at college football conference championship weekend. I don't think there's any better time to wrap up Six for Six with the conference championship games. Yes, I understand the World Cup is underway, but now teams are fighting for their spot for the round of 16. So those matchups are still being ironed out. So I couldn't really provide a pick for those. But this is how we're going to end it with conference championships. I got the 6 best conference championships to watch this weekend. I've been splitting hairs trying to figure out how do I want to rank these games from importance to the most critical to the ones that actually, seem interesting over others on the list. You could probably, debate where certain are, but I think I got a solid list for you guys this evening. It may be a little bit longer of an episode because it's the final episode for the picks for Six for Six. So definitely going to be very interesting as we develop in for Six for Six tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, it's conference championship weekend. All of our picks for Six for Six are going to be conference champion based. And I got the 6 best for you guys. I think I made a solid list, but we got to do what we normally do on this show. We got to look at last week's performance. Last week, we only selected 4 games to try to get us edge closer to 100. It backfired in our face. So last week, we went 1-3, and now that makes a lot of pressure to get 100 correct picks for 6 for 6. So we're 95, 85, and 2. So a lot of stuff hinging on this weekend. Can we make 6 for 6 history and crack 100, or will we have to do that in season 3? You have to stay tuned and keep following up 6 for 6 and tune in next week when I wouldn't say next week, but probably Sunday afternoon. We're going to conclude 6 for 6 with episode 35, and we'll conclude that, I would say. And without further ado, let's get down to business. In the 6th slot, we have the ACC championship game. Number 9, Clemson versus number 23, North Carolina. ACC championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. This game is a game that doesn't have much of importance. I originally had it in the 5th slot just based on how things are, developing. But this Clemson team doesn't have a shot at the playoffs. They have 2 losses, and they're just there. And they're number 9 in the nation. So it's a game, you could say, to fill the slot. Hopefully this helps us get us closer to 100. So I'm giving the edge to Clemson. Could Clemson fall and backwash in this game? Certainly North Carolina is hungry. But North Carolina went into, the last 2 games of the season with 2 straight losses. They're trying to turn it around. But Clemson got lost to South Carolina by 1 point. And North Carolina lost to NC State in a double overtime. So both these teams lost in a close fashion. Definitely a good game to watch to see how the ACC championship unfolds, but they're playing for a New Year's 6. North Carolina wants a New Year's 6. Clemson has just, screwed up, and now they're just trying to finish out the season on a high note. So North Carolina has a lot at stake to try to, take care of business, get the victory, and move on. Even if you look at some of the games that they played, Clemson has been playing teams close. I wouldn't be surprised this game's also close. And if you're looking at the, points differential, points per game, North Carolina has the edge of 37 compared to Clemson's 34. Points allowed per game, Clemson only gives up 20 compared to North Carolina's 30. So I can see this being a high-scoring game because if you're looking at defensive-wise for North Carolina, but also North Carolina can't produce points. So it's just going back and forth with that. But with that, I think Clemson will take care of business, gets the dub, and move on to a New Year's 6. So this is my pick. I'm going Clemson. In the 5th slot, it used to be the 6th, but I was looking at it. I think this is more of a game that probably could be ranked higher, but it's just not as significant enough to be in the top 4. So it falls in the 5th slot on the outside looking in. So if it was like college football playoffs, this would be the first game to be left out. But it's Toledo versus Ohio, the MAC Conference Championship, Saturday, December 3rd, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the battle for Ohio. That's why I moved this up to 5. I could imagine the MAC championship coming down to Toledo and Ohio University. I feel very proud to see that this game made it onto the list. I was trying to figure out how could I put this game higher, but as you know, the other 4 slots, we kind of know where they kind of lie. But this is definitely a solid number 5 pick. I would say where this game is located, it's in Detroit, Michigan. It's not even in Ohio. I'm like thinking you have 2 Ohio schools, and you tell me you couldn't get Paul Brown Stadium. You couldn't go up to Cleveland and play there. But no, you have to take this game to Detroit. So I feel a little upset about that this game is played in Michigan when it should truly be played in Ohio. I wish it was like the American Conference where the winner gets to host the conference championship game. As sad as that says, that is not the case for the MAC Conference Championship here. But if we're looking at this, very solid performance between these 2 schools this year. Toledo finished 75, which is like Purdue in the Big Ten. Nothing too great or flashy. But Ohio, ladies and gentlemen, finished 9-3. Congrats to them on a well-fought season. And we're going to break down some of the points per game. But Ohio's on a 5-game winning streak. And Toledo has lost, 3 out of their last 5. Definitely going to be a very interesting matchup for this team. But ESPN and the, percentage chance of winning actually edges Toledo with a 54.5% chance of victory. And Ohio has a 45% chance of victory. So it's very close. It's not very lopsided, but just looking at how, Toledo has played, losing close games and playing teams close, it's going to hurt them. But if you look at Ohio, they beat Bowling Green 34-14. They beat Ball State 32-18. They beat Miami of Ohio 37-21. They beat Buffalo 45-24. So you can see Ohio's been putting up points, averaging about 34 points a game. But if you look at Toledo, they lost to Western Michigan 20-14. They lost to Bowling Green 42-35. They beat Ball State 28-21. They beat Eastern Michigan 27-24, and they lost to Buffalo 34-27. So as you can see, if you look at the eye test based on teams that they played Bowling Green and Ball State. Ohio dominated those 2 schools, and Toledo played them close. So if Ohio comes out and dominates it, I can see Ohio taking it. I don't know why the percentage of victory is not in Ohio's favor when if you're looking at the eye test between the 3 schools that they even play. We can even lump Buffalo in there because that's part of the last 5 games that they played. So those teams are relatively all close to one another between the different weeks. And Ohio has dominated all the schools that I've mentioned. Buffalo, Ball State, and Bowling Green. So I don't know how you could, go against Ohio in this scenario. Definitely going to go Ohio over Toledo in the MAC championship game Saturday, December 3rd, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN. Definitely going to be a solid performance. And I like to call this the Battle of Ohio, ladies and gentlemen. Definitely going to be a solid game to watch. And as it develops, understand you have other conference championship games, but if one turns into a lopsided, I think this is going to be definitely a thriller to watch as a secondary game. Next up, we go into our 4th slot. We got LSU, number 14 in the nation, versus Georgia, number 1 in the nation. SEC championship game Saturday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on CBS. I have no other explanation for this game. Georgia's going to take it for the victory. LSU lost to A&M. Georgia has dominated all teams throughout the year besides the struggle against Missouri and basically beaten Tennessee by, I'm going to say 14. So as you can say, 2-score difference there. But they've been taking care of business. LSU has been up and down all year. Not very consistent. Sure, they can pull up something crazy, but it's Georgia. Georgia's been rocking teams. Only allow 11 points per game, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia has just been having a solid defense again this year. We thought they were going to digress, maybe slip up with a loss here and there, and still get to the SEC title game. But I wasn't thinking that they would win, the national title. It's very possible that they may not win it, but looking how this defense is performing, they're definitely a clear front runner to win the national title this year. LSU, on the other hand, gives up 21 points a game, only puts up 32 points a game, and Georgia produces 38 points a game. So as you can see, Georgia is going to dominate the spectrum of points, just scoring wise. They're just a solid team this year, Georgia. I got to give them that. And that's why I'm giving them the edge over LSU. So LSU 14 in the nation versus number 1 Georgia, SEC championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. Next up, we have the American Athletic Conference Championship game. Yes, the group of 5 is on the rise to number 3. We're having a lot of turning heads of the group of 5 rising in 6 for 6. We got to support the, smaller conferences where we can on this network and really make them worthwhile so people can tune in and really help out those schools and get them for like primetime matchups and trying to get them ranked in the top 25 for years to come. We got UCF versus Tulane, number 22 versus number 18. American Athletic Championship, Saturday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. Ladies and gentlemen, these teams have already faced each other, and UCF won 38-31, beat them by 7 at Tulane. Crazy, right? So this is going to be another close matchup, and I think UCF is going to do again. They're going to spoil them. Could I see UCF losing in this matchup? Certainly. If you're looking at the points per game, they both produce 34 points a game. And now if you look at UCF defense, allowing points, UCF gives up 21 compared to Tulane's 19. Again, eye test is, I wouldn't say very important onto this, but they're playing teams close. If we look at Cincinnati, for example, Tulane beat Cincinnati by 3, 27-24. But UCF beat Cincinnati 25-21, beat them by 4. Close game. Team is evenly matched. If we're looking at the breakup, ESPN has Tulane winning it with a 59% chance of victory compared to UCF's about 40%, 41% chance of victory here, ladies and gentlemen. Relatively close. Gonna be a thriller to watch. Their teams' records are 9-3, 10-2. Literally, one game separates them from having the same exact record. This is why it's a great game. The American Conference has been producing some good champions. You've seen them in the rankings almost for the last, 4 years now. They've been in the, top 25. Having solid, I wouldn't say having solid performance, having decent performance and good performances in the New Year's Six Bowls against the Power 5 schools, giving them headaches throughout, making it an interesting matchup for a group of 5 team to cause some havoc and exposing some of the Power 5 schools, which we all like to see to make sure the Power 5 schools keep their A games up. Definitely going to be a thing to keep our eye on as the American Conference grows and develops. I understand as the divisions change in 2025 with conferences being realigned, the American Conference is not going to be the same. But the Big 12 is going to be looking very interesting with smaller schools, and you'll have a lot of teams being close to each other, and you have a good solid New Year's Six out of that, since those teams have a better chance of getting to the college football playoffs, and more of those teams will be ranked, which helps those schools out trying to reach the college football playoffs. And once the playoffs expand, now you're going to see more UCFs, Tulanes, Cincinnati's, SMU's getting to the college football playoff, being that at-large school, getting in, winning your conference, having a better shot of getting to the college football playoffs with this lineup. But with my pick, ladies and gentlemen, I go UCF in this one. So UCF 22 in the nation versus Tulane number 18 in the nation. American Athletic Conference Championship game Saturday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. Now, the two top games both impact the college football playoffs, and that's why I ranked them a certain way. Now, the number 2 slot, Kansas State, number 10 in the nation, versus TCU, number 3 in the nation. Big 12 championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ABC. This is a game that TCU must win. If they lose, it's a long shot for them to get back in the college football playoffs. Everyone was saying on game day, and all the announcers and commentators and analysts saying TCU has to win to stay in the college football playoffs. If they lose, they're done. Maybe if it's a close fashion, they lose by 1, maybe. But it's a hard maybe. I wouldn't say yes, they'll get in. It's just like the committee has to view how this is a loss and how is it impact. If they win, they're in. That's the bottom line. And I think TCU is going to win and keep that momentum. And we're going to have an easy cut and dry top 4 college football playoffs. And the committee's not going to be splitting hairs. But if the top teams lose, oh boy, Selection Sunday is going to be interesting, I would say. Very interesting. But with that, I have TCU winning it in this matchup. So Kansas State, number 10 in the nation, versus TCU, number 3 in the nation. Big 12 Conference Championship, Saturday, December 3rd, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ABC. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, the game of the week, the last pick of 6 for 6 for season 2 is Utah, number 11 in the nation, versus USC, number 4 in the nation. Pac-12 championship game, Friday, December 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Fox. The game that rides the Pac-12 champion to get into the college football playoff. The last Pac-12 team to reach the college football playoffs was Washington, and they haven't been back since. So they're trying to turn that around and get another school into that picture and improve the Pac-12. Yes, Utah and USC have faced each other. Utah won by 43-42 at Utah. Now this game's in Vegas. USC's on the horizon. They took care of tough opponents like UCLA and Notre Dame. And Utah lost to Oregon by 3. So they have a destiny to go back and win it and try to get back to the Rose Bowl and redeem themselves. Maybe have another shot at Ohio State to make it a part 2 of unfinished business for Utah. Who knows? But definitely a lot to ride on for this college football team and a lot to develop in, for this. A lot of things hinge on this game. A lot of things are at stake, and that's what makes this the game of the week, ladies and gentlemen. Pac-12 action. It's packed. I would say, yeah, it's basically Pac-12 After Dark on a Friday night before conference championships on Saturday. I think this is a great game to kick off conference champion weekend, in my opinion. It's definitely two teams have a lot at stake trying to convince people saying USC belongs in the college football playoffs. If they lose, they're done. Ohio State goes in as a 4. But if Utah wins, they go to the Rose Bowl and face, the second best team in the Big Ten, which is going to be very interesting. So a lot of things at stake. I have USC pulling it out, but they're having Utah with a 61% chance of victory compared to I would say USC's 39% chance of victory. I don't think you should doubt USC. I understand it's a rematch and you have to factor in a lot. And I know USC's probably has some tricks up their sleeve to get in. And plus, Lincoln Riley turned around USC in a year. I was saying that Lincoln Riley has like a 3 to 4 year window to say they have to get to the college football playoffs. He literally did that in one season. In my mind, he already checked the box of achieving USC standards and literally getting them to the college football playoffs. The next thing is winning the semis and then getting to the national title to win it, because that's what USC is. Their bread and butter is to win national titles. Now, Lincoln Riley's on the right track. It's his first year with this team, with this coaching staff and all these players. So if he loses in the semis, it's not, I wouldn't say it's not really his fault unless he does bad coaching, but it's new experience with the staff. It's literally the first time the team has been there. So the team doesn't have experience. The coaching staff doesn't have experience besides Lincoln Riley himself. So it's definitely going to be a very uphill battle for this USC team if they reach the college football playoffs. But they have to take care of business, beating Utah in the Pac-12 championship game. So Utah, number 11 in the nation, versus USC, number 4 in the nation, Pac-12 championship game, Friday, December 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Fox, ladies and gentlemen. Let me do a quick recap, and I'll get you on out of here. So, number 6, we have Clemson, number 9 in the nation, versus North Carolina, number 23 in the nation. ACC championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on ABC, and I have Clemson winning it. Next up, we got the Battle of Ohio for the MAC championship game, Toledo versus Ohio, Saturday, December 3rd, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ESPN, and I have Ohio winning it. Next up, I have LSU, number 14 in the nation, versus Georgia, number 1 in the nation. SEC championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on on CBS. And I have Georgia winning it. Next up, we have UCF, number 22 in the nation, versus Tulane, number 18 in the nation. American Athletic Conference Championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific time on ABC. And I have UCF winning it. Next up, we have Kansas State, number 10 in the nation, versus TCU, number 3rd in the nation. Big 12 championship game, Saturday, December 3rd, noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time on ABC, and I have TCU winning it. Next up, we have Utah, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, number 11 in the nation, versus USC, number 4 in the nation. Pac-12 championship game, Friday, December 2nd, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on Fox, and I have USC winning it. Like I said, last week's record, we went 1-3, which improves our record to 95, 85, and 2. A lot of stuff hedges on this weekend. I think it's perfect for us. Trying to get 100. We got a lot of solid picks in here. And like USC and TCU, trying to do something good for the school's program, and same for 6 for 6. Can we do that milestone? Can we get over that hump, or will we be hindered and have to go around another calendar year to try to reach 100 victories, 100 correct picks for 6 for 6? With that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining for the last picks for 6 for 6. We'll do another episode Sunday to wrap up 6 for 6 with stats of how we did this season with our picks and how many games we got right, from percentages and averages, to basically wrap up 6 for 6. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you all Sunday for the last episode of 6 for 6. So long for now. Bye-bye.